Hi everyone, I'm Teresa and I'll be your host of the UCI Kendo Club podcast. Our topic today is study abroad, and specifically study abroad in Japan, where we'll introduce our three lovely UCI Kendo Club graduates who studied abroad. I want to first put our focus to why study abroad was a memorable experience for them and how it influenced their time both in the Kendo Club and after their graduation. So let's bring them out. First, Nathan, please introduce your full name, age, and when you went abroad.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm old. I studied abroad at Sophia University in 2010 and ICU in 2012. And then after graduating from ICU, I stayed in Tokyo and worked in Tokyo and Kumamoto.
That's very cool. How about Luca Gazzola?
Hello, my name is Luca. I haven't even graduated from school yet, so I'm not really a graduate. I studied in Sendai, in like the Miyagi Prefecture, in Japan. I want to say like 2 years ago. It was pretty much for my junior year. I studied at Tohoku University.
Very cool. Now, how about Joseph Hiroshi Kyuchi?
Hi guys, my name is Hiroshi. In the Kendo Club, I'm 22, and I studied abroad a year before Luca in 2017 to 18 at Keio University.
Very nice. Very educated. I want to thank you guys for coming on to the podcast today. And I was wondering how you guys are doing and how quarantine is treating you.
Well, I'm just surviving. Quarantine is like not. It hasn't been like the worst experience in the world since I'm already kind of like more of an indoors kind of guy.
You're
But like,
sedentary.
I had to move back to my parents' house and all that kind of stuff. So it's been kind of crazy, just having to do work and then going to school at the same time and then having to deal with my parents. I love my parents, but sometimes
So it's
they're a little bit crazy.
How about Nathan and Hiroshi?
I just miss traveling in Kendo.
Every day, getting scolded at, crying about it in my inside, and just trying to do my best at work every day.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Let's get into the questions. She says, Katie May, she says, how would you describe your study abroad experience in 5 words? Let's start, Nathan.
I would say new, different, exciting, crazy, and fun.
That's, nice. How about Hiroshi?
Actually, can you come back to me? I don't remember.
Okay. How about Luca?
Oh, Jesus Christ, help me.
Crap. Let's say it was exciting. It was somewhat depressing. But overall life-changing. Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of words, but
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult with 5 words.
Now, what was something you didn't pack for your trip but would bring if you went back?
Jacket. I went to one of the most northern areas that you could go in terms of like school. I think it was like the most northern place you can go for like study abroad at UCI, and I didn't bring a jacket.
Oh my god!
So like when winter was rolling around, I was like, I'm cold, and I had nothing. So
Like, what is
I
this
was-
strange feeling?
wow, what is this white stuff falling from the sky? It's so cold, and I'm here wearing a t-shirt.
Oh.
I actually had to get like my parents to send me like some actually like big jackets because I actually didn't want to buy anything there. it was a cold for a few weeks, I have to say, but after I got my jackets, it was pretty nice.
Yeah. I guess that's the most important thing about study abroad.
To
A
bring a jacket.
jacket. Yes.
Bring a jacket.
How about you, Hiroshi?
I would say I think I would have brought more money with me. Like physical cash.
So you're
that I
a
could-
beggar.
Yeah, I'm a beggar. I mean, typically, because I wasn't in the northern part of Japan, I was in the heart of Japan, right? The coast, but near Tokyo. So it wasn't too cold, it wasn't too hot, it was just right.
Does
And,
Tokyo have a big like beggar community?
The beggar community?
Yeah.
Yeah, we formed a beggar community, like those who don't have much money, and we were just constantly planning how we could get more money every day.
That's a valuable life experience.
Yeah, it's pretty important to bring money with you. More money doesn't hurt.
How about you, Nathan?
I would say non-Japanese food.
Oh,
I actually had a friend from the
That's actually a
US
good
that
one.
visited me when I was at work in Kumamoto, and he brought me taco mix and taco shells. Like, Japan has a lot of good food, but there's so many things that you can only get in the US.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I remember when going to Japan, I was like, the food is really good here, but it's too clean. There's not that dirtiness that America has. They're like burgers
Yeah.
and like their
Don't say
processed
that.
food.
No, but it's true.
So there's not like a huge variety of food, you would say?
There's not really international food in Japan. Like, they'll say they have Italian food or Greek food or whatever, but all just Japanese.
Ah, I see. I'll keep that in mind. Now, the next question. Describe the cultural differences of college kendo in Japan versus in the US.
Get your ass beat a lot.
You get the what?
You get your ass beat. It's like so when I went, like there were like there was the club and there was the circle, and from what I heard when I was over there is that if you try to join the club, that's kind of like something you gotta dedicate a lot of time into. So it's like, I think it was 6 days a week, and you
Oh my
meet twice a
God.
day, once in the morning and once at night.
Oh my god!
And okay, now look, I love Kendo. I think it's fun, but Jesus, like 6 times a week is a bit much for me. And on top of that, like my program was entirely focused around like doing research at a research lab. So I was already spending like tons of time in a lab. I think it was like 20 to 40 hours a week for the first semester, and then like 40 to 60 hours the second. So I had like no time to go that many times. So I would go to the circle instead. And I went for a little while, but it was like maybe at most like 5 people at a time every practice. So it was like really weird. So and they're like all like these super good, like, what was it, like sandan like people pretty much. And I was just here with like no rank, being like, hey, what up, guys? None of them spoke English.
Oh.
So I very much had to like really try to communicate as best as I can. And I kind of felt like, I mean, I definitely was an outsider, but they didn't really help me kind of like feel more included or like be part of the group. So eventually, like as soon as research started like picking up, I kind of just dropped it because I just didn't have time, and they didn't really make any, they didn't really try to reach out at all. So I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just do whatever I can.
So it has this very strong atmosphere of like, you have to work for it.
I mean, that's what it felt like, or at least like you just have to like be like a part of it, or have to like do it a lot, kind of a thing, to be kind of included with it. And at least for Tohoku Circle, it just felt like it was just kind of hard to be there in a way. I mean, plus having that language barrier there is already tough as it is, and having people not really make the effort is also it kind of sucks. I mean,
I see.
I also admit that it's probably some fault on my own because I didn't really make the effort to reach out either. But
Yeah, it was your fault.
you know, it oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, but you know, it's rough.
I know Hiroshi has some strong opinions.
Like it's a lot more time spent open at the this sport like
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I still remember some of them.
I'm gonna stop you right
some
there.
Some of my colleagues.
Hiroshi.
Yeah, what?
Your voice was cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me?
The whole time.
I didn't hear anything you said.
Yes, so let's wait for it to go back to normal, and we'll move on to Nathan.
I guess it really depends on the school, because there's a lot of schools that are really serious about Kendo and tournaments, and that's really all they think about. Like, there's even schools where you can major in Kendo.
Oh, wow.
Some are just, whether or not they're strong or they're weak, all they really care about is the Joge Kanke, which is like senpai and kohai stuff, where like graduates and sensei are treated like gods. But for some Americans, that's probably not as fun. But again, it really depends on the school. I think ICU was a lot more laid back than most Japanese schools. It was kind of like UCI, and practice was never that formal, so we would really just practice for fun and hang out afterwards.
So that's like the ideal study abroad school, you would say, for Kendo?
Yeah, I studied abroad in Sofia and ICU, but I think ICU was a lot more fun.
Oh, nice. That's very informative. Now let's see if Hiroshi's voice came back to life.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, fine. Thank God. God damn it, I have to say all that again?
Yeah.
I'm going into it.
I could tell.
I just want to say that college Kendo Japan's hardcore. That's it.
Okay, nice. Moving on. Why did you guys study abroad? So let's start with Luca. He has the best mic, I guess.
Hey. I'm not exactly sure why. I know there was like something that I've wanted to do for like quite a long time. Like ever since I want to say middle school and high school is when I really wanted to start like looking into study abroad. I think part of it because right around when I was in elementary school, when my grandfather was in the hospital, family in Japan, so my grandfather in Japan, I actually attended elementary school for a little bit in Japan, and I figured that was like a very fun experience. I mean, I was some random English kid that didn't know how to speak any Japanese, so it was very weird. But a lot of the kids that were there, like thought I was cool because I was like, oh, look, a transfer student, so cool. So it was like a very fun experience at that time, and I think that really positively affected me moving forward. So when I started like getting into college and I saw the opportunity to do things like study abroad, I think I just thought back to that moment, and I was like, you know what, I want to just try and go ahead with it. So I started talking to my parents about it, about my plans to study abroad, and we kind of like made it a big point where no matter what is going to happen through the 4 years of college, well, I guess for right now it's 5 years, that I would be going to Japan at some point. And originally I wanted to go to, I was thinking about like, you know, just pick whatever school that will accept me. But my family went to Japan for a little bit, again, due to certain family circumstances. And they started exploring schools there. And my aunt, also in Japan, had mentioned that going to Tohoku would be a very good idea, since it's one of the few schools that is there that actually has a very good computer science program. So I started looking on what UCI actually has to offer in terms of like universities, and wouldn't you know, Tohoku's on there. So I started like trying to apply for it. It was actually fairly rigorous compared to the other schools, because I didn't know this, but Tohoku at the time was like actually considered a pretty prestigious school. So I was like, ooh.
Oh, you cocky bastard.
So I decided, you know what, I just said, you know, whatever, screw it, let's just try it. And I managed to get accepted, got into the research program, and there you go, I studied abroad.
How about Hiroshi? Why did you study abroad?
It's just even in high school,
watching anime and only visiting Japan once or twice in my life. I wanted to actually live there. It was like a dream. And then I found out that when actually living there, people don't see me as Japanese American because I have this Japanese face, and so when I don't know something, they kind of look at me like, "Are you an idiot? Like, you're Japanese. You should know this." But other than that, I knew that the food was good. The culture was still great. So I wanted to just experience that as a local while going abroad.
I see. How about Nathan?
I studied Japanese and I started doing Kendo when I was in high school. And then in my sophomore year, I studied abroad for about 6 weeks in a high school in the middle of nowhere. But it was actually a lot of fun. So,
wait, where is this middle of nowhere?
The middle of Aichi. Like,
that is
an hour and a half away from Nagoya.
Yeah, that is the middle of nowhere. I don't even know where that is.
Toyokawa. But I guess like Luca, I had the transfer student experience. Everyone was like, whoa, foreigner. That was just really fun. And then when I went to UCI, I just decided I wanted to do it again. Not in the middle of nowhere. I wanted to be in Tokyo. But I just wanted to have fun and try it again.
Wow, that sounds very nice. Now, this next one is from the same person, and it's kind of like a deep question. What is one thing you found out about yourself after you came back? So I'll bring this around to Luca again.
I guess it's like I feel like I'm very much like willing to put myself out there and like really try to explore. Because I mean, normally I find myself to be a very kind of like indoorsy kind of person that likes to, not do much or, put yourself out there too much. But some of the best experiences in my life have been because I've chosen to just, go outside my comfort zone and just really try to reach out. And of course, one of the best ways to do that is to just spend a year living in a country that you don't know too much about, or you're not familiar with like customs and how to live there, with people you don't know and a language you barely understand. So, it was kind of like a triple, quadruple whammy kind of thing, but it was probably one of the best things that I could have done for myself. And I felt like that the experience coming out of it was, I learned a lot. I mean, not just about yourself introspectively, but more, outside, like, how you see the country, how you see, how the people, the culture, that kind of stuff. It's a very cool perspective on things that you might not get anywhere else.
I guess I'm kind of the same as Luca because after coming back from Japan, I really learned that I liked adventure and traveling. Before I visited Japan, I really only went to like 2 or 3 countries, I think, but now it's been more than 45.
Wow.
And
nice. So Japan was like the origin of it all.
for traveling, yeah.
Nice. How about Hiroshi?
I think I learned more about enduring things. Studying abroad is something that is great, but when you do it, especially for a year, you do really get homesick. You really wish to go back home sometimes. But I think the idea of staying there, enduring all those nostalgic memories and wanting to go back, by pulling through all the way to the end, you realize that you can do things that not many people can really do, which is to stick to one thing for a very long time and then accomplish it. So I think overall, what you gain from study abroad is learning that persistence and endurance skill, as well as just pulling through in whatever you're doing in any task that you're doing from start to finish. So that was like a really big moment for me that I learned about myself.
So Japan really stood out to you in that it brought out what you endured through, like the fruits of your labor?
Yeah, the fruits of my labor finally kind of came out. It's like a pineapple, Pineapples, they take like a year or two to grow to fully.
Mm-hmm. Except
and
this pineapple took 22 years to grow. Was that it?
It took from when I was born.
Oh, speaking of food, the next question, did you learn to cook any new local dishes while studying abroad?
Rice.
Chicken.
What? Rice? You can learn that anywhere.
I kind of wish that I learned, but
Your dad
like-
is a
there's-
chef.
I know. like okay, there's only like a handful of times that I actually cooked. Mainly because the cafeteria was just so cheap that it was actually cheaper to eat at the cafeteria than
Oh
go
my
out and buy
God.
groceries. But like for me, I don't know. The opportunities didn't really come up as easily, especially during like the second half where like I said, I was doing like 40 to 60 hours of research. I was having at one point just like 12-hour days,
Oh my
probably
God.
beyond that. Or like going 6 days a week, even 7 days a week. And at that point, like you don't really have time to cook for yourself, or at least, you know, I just didn't spend the time to do it. So instead, I just went ahead and went to either convenience stores or I went to the cafeteria. Like legit, my schedule would be like I wake up at like 10-11 a.m. because I'm a late boy. And then I would go to the cafeteria and eat one massive meal and then go to lab for about 12 hours. Like I would not eat until like past midnight.
You're like fasting.
Pretty much. Like
my God.
I tried to make like the one meal count. So I mean, I got my my food cost down to like maybe, I don't know, like 300-400 yen a day for just food.
Wow.
I got real skinny at that time. Like normally my weight is like 165 on average, but like when I was in Japan, like especially during that period, I went down to like 150.
Oh no.
It was pretty nutty. I mean, I was still in shape, and I still had time, like at least on the weekends, to have fun with like other friends and whatnot. But holy hell, like I had no time to like do anything like cooking or explore that kind of stuff. I went to like plenty of restaurants and I ate a lot of Japanese food, but I didn't have the chance to really like learn myself.
But you had like one golden opportunity one day to learn rice.
Microwave rice.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's so hard.
You can only do that in Japan, everyone.
It's
Microwave
I know,
rice.
right? Yeah, dude. I actually did not know microwave rice was a thing until I went there, and I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this changes everything.
So Nathan and Hiroshi, did you guys learn any real local dishes?
Like Luca said, it was much cheaper just to eat out than to make food myself. Like when I was studying abroad, I would go to the cafeteria and get full for $2 or $3.
Wow.
Then when I was working in Japan, I would wait until 8 p.m. where supermarkets made everything like 30 to 50% off. And then I would just buy sashimi or something and put it on top of rice and eat it.
So instead of like cooking, you guys just learned like life hacks.
Yeah.
And also, there's so many different foods in Japan. Like every prefecture you go will have something different that's special to just that area. So I always wanted to try new things. I didn't want to waste time cooking terrible food for myself.
That's a very good reasoning.
How about you, Hiroshi?
Well, as everyone knows now, I learned the origins of cooking chicken in my life.
You need to say
Originated
chicken
from-
breast.
Chicken breast
Chicken
came
breast.
from Japan because I was in the sports Kendo club. We had to make sure we're eating enough protein and taking some protein shakes and all that. But I thought to myself, I actually never cooked chicken breast before, so that's when I started cooking it. Doing other things like cooking rice or maybe making eggs in the morning or just try out anything that I can while I was in Japan to cook. But there are obviously times like going in the convenience store and meeting the old lady numerous times and saying, this is what I want, this is the bento that I want for tonight. So it was a mix of cooking, learning to cook, and learning to buy food on the way home.
I see.
Yeah.
It's still not a local dish. It's just chicken.
Yeah. Oh, I think we could take away that none of us actually did that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to whoever asked that question. Okay, this next one is like a very technical question. Study abroad seems like an expensive thing for privileged kids. How did you finance your study abroad, and is it possible for anyone to do it as a student? Luca.
Step 1, don't be Japanese. So what's kind of funny is if I remember, Hiroshi, you don't have Japanese citizenship, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I do, and
Wait, what?
yes, I know. Yes, I have. I used to, because the whole. I mean, they basically have a don't ask, don't tell policy with Japanese citizens. So technically, I'm a citizen as long as I don't tell anybody officially that I'm a Japanese citizen. It's dumb, I know, but like I have, I'm part of like my family's family registry and everything, and I am technically a citizen of the country. And because of that alone, I am not able to qualify for pretty much any scholarship going to Japan. So I think I had the roughest time out of all of us to like actually try to get any funding because one, I'm out of state, and so if you're a UC student that's out of state, unfortunately the out of state fee does carry over. So that $30,000 fee that all out-of-state students have to pay, yeah, that's also included with the out-of-state. But the overall tuition from the university itself is actually significantly cheaper than actual going to university, like in a UC school, at least in my experience.
So do you recommend like studying abroad all 4 years to save money?
Oh, hell yeah. The hardest part, like especially if you're an out-of-state student, is really like trying to figure out the finances of dealing with that huge fee carryover. There's gonna be plenty of plenty of scholarships that you can go for. Some that will give you tons of money, which is absolutely great. But it's really about trying to like find those scholarships and trying to manage it as best as you can. Like I said, I pretty much couldn't get any of them because being Japanese, apparently they just don't like Japanese people studying abroad in Japan, which understandably makes sense, but at the same time it's just kind of like, yo, excuse me. So it was kind of rough. A lot of it for me was like out of pocket. But the thing is like I'm already paying for school out of pocket as it is, so it really didn't make too much of a difference, and it was technically cheaper to go for that year. And the life experience that I got from it was, for me, I felt like it was very much worth the price tag. But I understand that, it's very adverse for people to like try to pay for something that expensive. So it's understandable.
So you had kind of like a unique situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like wrong place, wrong time, pay lots of money.
Well, I hope Nathan, you had a better time financing it.
I don't know if it's the same anymore, but when I was a student, I think you would pay the same tuition no matter where you studied abroad as you would pay in UCI. I think you basically just paid UCI and then you would go to whatever school you get accepted into. So if that's still the case, I think any UCI student should be able to study abroad, especially because we are kind of living in one of the most expensive countries in the world. And everything in the US is more expensive than what you'll find in Japan.
Yeah, I agree with Nathan. I mean, I was a peer advisor, so I kind of know a little bit more about the deets. But generally, you can. I think students who are financially dependent, they will get their financial aid to cross over to the study abroad tuition. And it's much cheaper, actually, because I think going abroad to Japan's tuition is maybe less than half of what you pay at UCI too. So you can save money as well. And I remember my parents saying, yeah, we only paid for your daily costs, but in terms of tuition, we didn't pay anything because a lot of scholarships can come with your study abroad. It's a lot easier to get scholarships if you're not a Japanese citizen. So, but yeah, it was very, very financially possible.
So in short, it's pretty accessible if you're not Luca.
Oof.
Okay,
But still possible, yeah.
Next, we have a fun segment, a trivia segment.
Oh no.
So, we're going to debunk some study abroad myths in this section. Nathan first, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are the majority of people who choose to study abroad male or female?
I have no idea.
Male or female? You say male?
Male?
No.
Because the females here.
No. Wrong. The majority is female. Next question for Luca. Is it financially possible for all students to study abroad?
Why do you give me this question?
Well, I guess you're gonna say no. But the answer is yes if you're not you.
I was gonna say yes. Exactly. I was gonna say yes if you're not me.
Okay, next question. Hiroshi. How many
Yes.
UCI students participated in UCEAP in the last 5 years?
I don't know, 20. No, not 20. I think it's lower. Maybe, or how about 20%? 20%.
No, like a
UCI.
number, not a percentage.
I don't know how many students go to UCI.
Yeah, well, just give me a number.
That's like
Give me a number.
10,000.
10,000?
Okay, fine. Wait. Yeah, 10,000.
The answer we were looking for was 2,827.
Wow.
That's very
Why you gotta be so specific?
Next question for Luca. What kind
Uh-oh.
of special opportunity can you get after studying abroad? Your hint is Hiroshi.
Oh, you can become a peer advisor at the Study Abroad Center.
Wait, that's the answer?
Woohoo!
Hey.
Or whatever.
We
You
have
can get a
one
job.
right.
Yeah, you can get a
Yeah,
job too.
You can get a job. But you're fired once you graduate. Anyways.
Is that all the questions?
Yes. Next, we're going back to the questions people submitted. Someone asked, what were some little everyday things that you picked up or forgot to do while in Japan that were different from being in the US?
I don't know. I kind of vibed with living over there, honestly. Like, it was, for me, it wasn't like that significant of a jump. But then again, like, most of my time was like, all right, wake up, stay indoors, either go to classes or go to lab, which you just either walk or commute to, and then you stay there for a bit and you wash, rinse, repeat. So it was very much like, at least for me, it was pretty mundane for the most part in terms of like doing actual school stuff. And then for the research, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the research, but oh my god, it was a lot of time spent. I guess what really found me, what I really found weird was for my research specifically, or at least my research lab, was that a lot of people were just independent and didn't talk to each other. Like, every time I walked into the lab, there could be like 15 people in there and no one was talking.
What?
It'd be so fucking weird. Like, you hear the keyboards typing, like clickety clackety. Sometimes you'll hear some occasional conversations between like the main professor and some other students. But beyond that, there's no talking like whatsoever. I felt so weird because like I would be talking sometimes with some of my I guess neighboring researchers. I mean, they're my friends. So and we would be talking sometimes, and one of my friends was like a heavy memester guy. But like if he wasn't there, or if eventually one of the other study abroad students that was there, if he wasn't there either, there would be like no talking at all.
Wow.
So it was definitely like very weird. I never thought that it would be that unusual, but like it's something that you kind of like notice. Like you notice a lot of silence, and a lot of noise. Like you kind of like see like these different I don't know. I would call them like weird things with audio, I guess, because like when you're in like, for example, like a train, like a subway, it's always like quiet. Like it's super quiet like inside, but then like it's loud as fuck as soon as you get out. So it's kind of like these weird I don't know. I don't know how to call it, like an audio gimmick or something like that in Japan, where it's like you have like these interesting periods of like silence, and then interesting periods of like, Jesus Christ, this is like loud as fuck kind of thing.
God.
So it's very unusual to say the least, but it's something that I kind of like picked up on.
Oh, interesting. So it's like each place had their designated like level of sound, you would say?
Yeah, like inside the train, quiet as hell. If you were talking in there, a lot of people will give you like weird looks. Because I think a lot of, yeah, I mean, if you're closer to like downtown area, or if you're on a line that a lot of like travelers or tourists take, it's seen like a little bit more as, I don't know, acceptable. I don't know if that's the right way. I think it's just people will put up with you, right? But if you're taking more like the local lines, you pretty much just have to like not talk. Like no talking on the phone, no sound coming from your phone. Try not to talk, just be quiet and don't move for the train. And that was pretty much something that happened. But then as soon as like you exited out onto the station, it's like you hear trains going, you hear like the shuffling of people, you hear the announcer over the comms like every 5 seconds. Like it just becomes loud as all hell.
If I can just kind of piggyback off that, I remember when I was in Japan, a lot of people who knew that I was from California, they said, "You're so freaking loud." I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, is it because like my voice is loud? And they're like, yeah. I was like, are all Californians just really loud? And I'm like, I don't know, because I've never been asked that question. So I guess the thing that I picked up while I was in Japan was to be more considerate of my voice, because I can be a little bit loud. So yeah, that's just something that I have a similar experience with Luca, I guess, in terms of like being quiet and talking at the right time or not.
I see.
That actually reminds me, when I was in Sofia, there was a Japanese student that came up to me once and asked me if I was from California. I said, yeah, and why? But he said it was because of my accent and the way I talk is so loud.
Okay, I guess it was just
I don't think I'm a loud person.
Yeah, that's what we think, but I guess we're not too quiet people.
So was it like both volume and just when you talked? Both of those things?
Maybe it's the laugh. For me, I laugh pretty loud.
Oh yeah, your laugh is like, it like resonates in the air.
Yeah, so if my friend and I, like, yes, I understand the Japanese culture of not speaking in trains, but when I laugh, like there'll be the old man at the very corner of the seats, just like looking at me. And I'm like, oh, okay, shoot, okay, I need to be quiet. I'm sorry.
How dare he find that funny?
I got that all the time.
I guess it's not necessarily something that you learn from Japan, but just learning because of the consequence of like different cultures, is you learn when to play your foreigner card.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like sometimes you're really trying hard and you're like, I'm gonna try to be as Japanese as possible, but then there's just some days where it's just like, I'm a foreigner, yo, I don't know this shit. Like you just accept it like fully, and then you just kind of like use that as an excuse. And honestly, like, you know, what are they gonna say? Because you know it's true.
Oh, that's easier for you and Nathan,
Yeah,
I think, because you guys.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
don't
look
never do that.
No. I actually did. I actually tried it out. Like when I had to go get my commuter pass, I spoke in English to the Japanese dude, like full on English, and I wanted to see his reaction.
Uh-huh.
and he was just kind of like, "Oh my god, like what are we supposed to do? This guy he's speaking English to us." So I kind of found out the foreigner card doesn't really work for me because they're just gonna get confused with my face with what I'm saying versus
I
the
think
English.
you should
of what
like
they're trying
try
to do.
wearing sunglasses and like shorts and flip flops and like a tank top that has the American flag on it. And try that.
And they were like, "Oh, did you just come? Did you just come from America?"
Yeah. And you go, yeah, man, bro.
I mean, it was kind of funny because like, I don't know. I would say I don't look too Japanese. Like, I mean, I'm half, right? I'm a half,
Yeah.
so I'm half Italian, half Japanese, and so a lot of people were very confused about who the hell I was. Some people were like, you're Japanese, but you're also not. So it's like
did you get a lot of like, what are you? Questions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I come over and I start speaking like fluent like American English, but I look like I'm a European Asian, and they're like, what are you? Who are you? It's like, hey, I'm just an American, bro.
Wait, Nathan, did you actually get questions like that while you're in Japan as well?
All the time.
What did you
I
answer?
think
How
it's
did you
because
answer?
of Nathan's beautiful eyes.
I would, when I first meet someone, I would always try to use broken Japanese just so they don't expect much from me. Things I picked up. I picked up a lot of random things, but yeah, I would kind of use broken Japanese, and then when I get close to them, start speaking the way I normally do, just so that they start off with the Nihongo jouzu desu ne, like everyone says. That means you're good at Japanese. That's pretty much a Japanese person's way of greeting a foreigner. They will tell you you're good at Japanese no matter what you say. But yeah, after that, when I felt comfortable, I would start speaking normally.
Wait, Nathan. Sorry, I just want to clarify. I know Luca is half Italian, half Japanese, and I personally thought you were half Japanese the whole time I knew you. Like for the 4 years, I thought you were half Japanese, but apparently you're not. So can you just like reiterate like what half and half you are?
What are you?
Half Chinese,
Half Chinese.
Sorry, half what?
half Chinese and half white.
Oh, you're half white?
Oh.
Oh,
Did you see his
Oh, that's
beautiful
pretty
eye color?
yeah.
That's where he got it.
Actually, those are contacts.
Oh. He doesn't have it. Well,
But they look good on you.
yeah, they do. Very nice. So another question.
Wait, did anyone pick up the randomly bowing?
The random
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, the
really?
random bout.
Technically
I know.
Japan.
Yeah.
Because that was the
It's
only
like-
thing I
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I guess you just start like everybody else. You just kind of start inadvertently doing it. I remember like doing it at a store, and what was it? I think it's like a cultural thing where if you're in like the service industry, you always have to bow lower than the person that's bowing to you, right? Or something like that. And so I would bow, and then they would be debowing, and then I would like bow even deeper because I thought I had to. And so it would be like,
By the time you're going over 90 degrees.
it would be like the London Bridge coming down. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I was gonna move on to the next question, even though it's kind of a jump. Are bidets as good as everyone says they are?
You're goddamn right they are.
They're amazing.
Like,
I actually
You-
never used it.
what?
Were you
They're
scared?
scary. I used it once, and then all of a sudden, I didn't know what it was, and water spewed out. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I just didn't want to use it after that.
I was
Dude,
so
like-
excited to use it the first time.
Did you were
Like,
you,
everybody calls
assaulted?
like toilets porcelain thrones, right? But people don't know what a porcelain throne is until they sit on one that actually has a bidet in it. Like, seriously.
Isn't
Like, it's so good that my super like American friend, like kind of like redneck-ish, went to Japan with during, what was it, New Year's, and I kind of like had him tour around like Tokyo. I went with him and tried to act as like a general translator. And the first time he saw a bidet, he's like, this changed my life. Like, it was so life-changing for him of having like a bidet that he actually when he came back to the US, the first thing that he bought was a bidet.
Oh my god.
And he installed it like the next day. Like, it was so amazing.
Wouldn't you say it like feels invasive though? To your personal
No,
space?
yo, it feels
Yeah,
relaxing,
I
So,
think
man.
so too.
you're more like, come on in.
I mean, maybe not as awkward as like,
for me, the
yo,
door was
water,
always
or come into
closed,
my ass,
but-
dude. But it's like, I wouldn't exactly say it's like that, but it's like, you know, it's friendly.
What?
You know, it feels nice.
I don't know.
You
Especially,
can adjust
like-
how strong it is if it's too much.
I mean, you definitely don't want to have like, you know, a fire hose like spraying into your asshole like that. I mean, that hurts, and I've had bidets that are like that. But you know, you can adjust water pressure, you can adjust water temperature. You know, so you know, it's very flexible.
So they're good
Like,
with the right adjustments.
Yes, I mean, hell, even my grandma has one, yo. Like, this isn't something that that only the young folks have, right? It's like my like almost 70-year-old grandma has one, and it's like, it's great. Although her doesn't have like temperature gauges on it, so it's like during the wintertime whenever I visited, it would be the coldest fucking thing in the world.
Oh no. Nathan, were you gonna say something?
Was I gonna what?
Say something?
No.
No? Do you have a strong opinion on bidets?
I agree with Luca. I think everyone should have one. They're
Okay.
amazing.
Okay, so two out of three, good. 1 out of 3, it's too invasive.
Yeah, it's like a door. You're trying to shut a door, but then there's a fire hose getting shot at the door. I can't open the door. It's just,
But
I'm
your,
like, no.
your butt is the door?
Yeah, my butt is the door.
Like both cheeks?
Okay. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. Okay, now someone sent in this question who specifically wants non-cliche answers. What
Oh,
are
okay, I'll
some...
just give a cliche answer.
Okay, yeah, sure. Believe in yourself. What are some things? What are some things to keep in mind when traveling to Japan, and how do you communicate with a native Japanese person?
Definitely something to keep in mind
Is to
I
believe in
would
yourself.
Bring a jacket.
is to believe in yourself. Definitely keep in mind like the culture as you're going around. There were a few. There's been some definitely interesting experiences that I've had with other students, and even stories of students that I haven't met. Because of either how good or how bad of an experience it was, and it's mainly just because like they chose to just not pay attention to how, you know, Japanese society works, you know, their laws, their culture, and that kind of stuff. Like, I remember there's a huge scandal that apparently a year before I arrived at Tohoku, and it's because a bunch of students, you know, I think they were from Amsterdam or something, just chose not to care about, you know, whatever Japan does, and decided to bring some drugs.
What? You don't do that
you know,
anywhere, not just Japan.
well, that's true, but the thing is like, unlike like the US or like any European country, it is highly illegal, and you get deported like immediately. And that's exactly what happened. They got deported immediately, and the program that they were a part of got shut down.
Wow.
So there was a lot of people that were on edge when I arrived because of that, and so they were really scared about hope that the next group of foreigners would do the same thing. So there was like this whole like "say no to drugs" campaign or whatever, you know, something equivalent of that, right? But you know, another thing is like just definitely, you know, be mindful of the people around you. You know, you are in their country, so I think it's somewhat expected that you should at least try your best to act the part almost. At least that's how I felt about it, because it's like, you know, like the whole train thing that we were talking about. It's fine to do it like every once in a while where you can just, you know, be loud and whatnot. Even they do it, but for the most part, try to be respectful. Don't try to do too many wild things. You know,
And
I
don't
mean, you
bring
can still have a good
drugs.
time and not be a complete douche. So And yeah, don't bring drugs.
Yeah.
What was the second question?
Well, you answered both, so that's
okay.
all right.
Perfect.
How about Hiroshi?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what Lucas said. Just be mindful of your surroundings, especially the people who are near you, because if they're Japanese, they most likely would either be quiet or they're just, I don't know, they might not show you that of how they're feeling, just because Japanese people tend to kind of ignore such like actions of things that they might not approve, but they will be watching. They actually are watching. They actually are thinking about it. So just to make sure that you don't give a bad impression as a foreigner to other foreigners in the future, I think it's very important to make sure what you're doing is parallel to what Japanese people are doing on a daily basis. So be considerate about that when you're going to Japan. Bring enough money too.
How about you, Nathan?
I think when you're traveling in Japan, one thing that a lot of people should keep in mind is that Japan is much, much more than Tokyo. There's 47 prefectures in Japan, and after going to all of them, I think Tokyo is one of the more boring ones, to be honest.
Wow.
Wait, you went to all of them?
Yeah.
What?
God.
Well, I kind of thought I don't know how long I'm going to stay in this country, so I might as well see it all so I don't have to come back. I'm not like that.
It's a one-time
I just wanted to
thing.
see everything I could. But outside of Tokyo is the real Japan. So if you want something different from America, it's better to just get out and see everything you can. And I guess when you're communicating with a Japanese person, there's no real nice way to say this, but I think you need to just learn how to be fake. You also have to learn to be very fake, especially with the ones that you hate.
Yeah, I think one thing that takes getting some time to get used to is like also being indirect. Like
Yeah.
being direct to somebody in Japan might come off as being arrogant or like, you know, you being like an asshole or something like that. But that's how we speak like in the US, right? Or at least it's part of like how English works too. But you know, they're very much used to like being, instead of like saying no, they'll say like maybe some other time, and then like never respond to
Oh,
it
yeah,
again,
right.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I know that.
It's a very like bizarre way of communicating, at least for us. It is, because you know, we're so used to either hearing yes or no as a very direct means, but for them that's not really the case. Using directness very much indicates like strong emotion, and if you're just casually talking with somebody, it's not likely that they'll, you know, give you any strong emotions like that, or at least to that level. So you kind of have to kind of get used to the fact that they're probably not going to be very direct with you, and you might need to kind of maybe read between the lines a lot of the time to figure out what they're actually trying to say to you.
So
I
it's a
think
lot
like
of like.
Joken people were saying, if you come off as a very outgoing American person, everyone's just gonna avoid you.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, you don't want to be too blunt. Like, yeah, being blunt is very, very. If you're not gonna have any friends, in my opinion, in Japan.
Being blunt is like, it's good if you're already friends, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
if you're trying to make friends, no, that's definitely not gonna happen.
Learn to be fake. Very,
this-
very fake.
This became a guide to how to make friends.
Maybe say like, just do your own thing and then ask for help when you need it, and you'll be fine in terms of communicating.
Okay.
I don't know, this is probably like a bad way to put it, but it's like, if you want to try to slap somebody, like in the US, you just straight up slap them, right? Like, quick, fast, blunt, it happens instantly. Who cares? But in Japan, it's like, you gotta kind of like gently pat them on the side of the face, kind of like tell them that it's gonna be okay, you're gonna slap them, and then slap them really hard afterwards, right? It's kind of like that.
So, our next question. If you couldn't go to Japan, where else in the world would you go and why? Well, Nathan already went everywhere, so.
It makes it hard because I could go anywhere.
Ooh. I mean, it's pretty cool though.
So even as a student, like, would you still
I think
choose Japan?
out of all the countries I've been to, there's only a few that I wouldn't want to actually live in, but most would be okay.
I see.
You just got to get used to them.
Yeah.
How about-
I don't see, the thing is, like, for me, I'm not like 100% sure, because like I think my default would have been like to go to Italy, which is, you know, the other half of my family. But then again, last time I went to Italy, that wasn't exactly a very good experience. So for the lack of like subtlety, the other side of my family are a bunch of religious nuts. Very crazy, very weird people. I don't know, they got some weird quirks to them, but like Italy is like a cool place, right? It's like very historic, you know, rooted. It has like such rich history.
Yep, even with COVID.
Yep.
So
Very rich.
you'd recommend Italy, but not your family.
No, of course not. Jesus Christ. No, like there's like maybe like of my family there, like maybe a quarter of them are actually like cool or like they're homies, but that's it. Like that, and that's not really saying much, honestly, which is kind of sad. But like maybe, I don't know, maybe Taiwan would be kind of cool too.
I heard Taiwan has like really cheap boba.
Yes.
Really
Oh my!
cheap.
I went to Taiwan like before
Oh,
I
you
came back to the
did?
U.S. Yeah, like for like a week because my friend invited me to go there, and honestly, like it was such a cool experience. Like, if you want like a Japan, but like not quite Japan, like Taiwan is probably the closest thing you'll get.
How about Hiroshi?
I would actually not go to Asia. I want to go to Germany
Oh, wow.
because
Do you like
I don't know,
sausages?
yes, actually when I was in Japan, it was really interesting. I met a Vietnamese dude who could speak German, and because he lived in Germany throughout his life, and then we were in one class, and then his name was Tai Tai, but I was like, hey Tai Tai, how do you say sausage? I like sausages in German. And he's like, Ich mag Wursten. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll go to Germany someday.
And
then
you'll
try
say
out some of
that
the
to
sausages.
everyone.
Yeah, I'll say it as a hi, like, Ich mag Wursten. To everyone, everywhere. Ich mag Wursten. And I'm pretty sure they're going to love me because they're really famous for their sausages. So, yeah.
Well,
That's where I want to go.
I have an irrelevant story because I'm not a guest, but my dad had a conference in Germany and he came back and was like, I brought souvenirs. It was a pack of Band-Aids and an old napkin from a restaurant he ate at.
Damn, that's wild.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah, so that's
there's more to
that's
it.
my taste of Germany for everyone.
No sausages.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm a really huge fan of their chancellor, Angela Merkel. She's a pretty huge figure in the EU. So I wanted to just see what Germany is actually like, the Germany that she built. So
That's very
yeah, it's
cool.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. To wrap things up, I want everyone to tell me one major takeaway from study abroad, and do you recommend it?
Well, I definitely recommend it. Like, I've had so many life experiences that honestly I probably can never replicate. Just because of study abroad, the opportunity of being able to, you know, meet people at around the same age from all sorts of different countries, not just, you know, the country that you're going to. You know, I've had a lot of great experiences. Like, I don't know, there's a bunch. I got my face on a newspaper. Which was great. Yeah.
They're like white man goes fishing.
White man goes fishing. Yeah.
Big news. That's big news.
I mean, it was so funny. Like, my professor actually was reading the newspaper and saw that, and he brought it into class, and he's like, "Hey, you guys are on the newspaper," and we were like, "What? Seriously?" Because we didn't know either. I got lost in the mountains with some random German dude. It was great.
They're everywhere.
Is that your major
But,
takeaway
like,
though?
I think the major takeaway is that, like, you will experience things in your life that I feel like you will have you won't have too many opportunities to do, like, you know, being able to go to a university, meet people with the same similar age from all sorts of different backgrounds, and just have fun with them. You know, go on adventures. You guys will probably have many shared experiences, like not being able to communicate with other people, you know, that kind of stuff. And so you know, you start to have you start meeting like some really cool people. I remember one of the people that I met that was over there came from the University of Hawaii, and she started dating some guy from Germany.
Oh.
And it was like the most wild thing ever, because like they were such a cool couple, but you know, they're on polar opposite ends of the earth. But you know, it's stuff that you really don't expect, and sometimes those, you know, unexpected things can really make your life that much better, or you know, it really puts a new spin on life. And so I would highly recommend it.
I think everyone in UCI knows what it's like to go to school in the US right now, but it's fun and different to experience other parts of the world and just go on an adventure. So everyone should do it, especially while they're young and can do it right now. And if you don't, you're probably going to regret it in the future.
Man, don't say that when I'm in my senior year.
I mean, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, you know, you just gotta go for it. You know, just
Yes.
gotta launch it.
Sometimes you
And
just
so-
gotta take a fifth year, you know?
Hey, okay, that's because of other circumstances. Okay. It's one thing to go and study abroad. It's another thing for the school, for your own like school, to say, yeah, all those research that you did, like all those like 60-hour work weeks that you did, yeah, you get 1 class credit.
Oh,
No, I mean,
man.
yeah, it's not fun when that happens, but like, would I do it again? In a heartbeat, honestly. Like,
So it's great, but you wish they didn't screw you over.
I mean, at this point, I'm used to UCI just screwing me over, so it's not much of a difference anymore. But you know, if you have the opportunity, like, definitely take it, because I feel like these kinds of like you know, study abroad is one of the few rare moments where I think you get like the most benefit out of it while you're still young, and you know, you actually have the time to do it. Because when you're older, you might want to start a family, might be more interested in doing things like that, and you might be more reserved, so you'll be less inclined to start going out and trying all these experiences, because it feels more dangerous. It feels like more of a risk. You know, why not do dumb things while you're young? They call it young and dumb for a reason, so you might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, I do recommend it. I know, like, all of us had some weird experiences that we shared, but I think overall, the idea of going to a country as a student, and it's pretty much paid by the government if you're financially a student, like that, I don't think you can get that anywhere in your life. And if you think about it, if you were to graduate, you can only go to places like that for a very limited amount of time with your own pocketed money. So I would definitely recommend it. And even when I was working at the Study Abroad Center, I learned that only a very few amount of people at UCI, maybe like only 15% at UCI, but you told me only 2,000. That's very small. So I think taking advantage of this opportunity can definitely not broaden your horizons. A very cliche way of putting it, but it just can help you academically, mature professionally, get a better resume, and it can help you get a job. Yeah, a lot easier to get a job for studying abroad. So
especially the job part, because that helped me get my current job despite still being in university.
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. I think employers, they assume that you have an open mind because you're taking on challenges of going to a different country and studying. So that's a huge plus on your resume as well. So just try even for a quarter. That'd be great.
Well, you guys made study abroad sound awfully enticing. Before we end, do you guys have any shout-outs to cool people you met in Japan if they ever watch this?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, there's if you remember, there's this guy named Keisuke that came to our club for a little bit during junior year. He actually went to Tohoku. We got connected through my Japanese professor, and I kind of helped him while he was over here, and then he helped me while I was over there, and so it was like a very fun experience. I pretty much already had like a friend while I was there, so it was definitely, shout outs to him, and of course through all my other friends that I made over there, from my research lab and whatnot. So
How about Nathan?
Yeah, to all my friends in Tokyo and Kumamoto from Sophia and ICU, everyone. Love you all. You all.
Very nice.
but not in a direct way.
In an indirect way. Do I love you? Do I? What about Hiroshi?
Sorry, what was the question?
Are you even listening?
I was listening.
Okay, any shout outs to cool people you met in Japan? We wrote this together and
Screw
he doesn't
you.
know.
You traumatized me just a bit. I'm just kidding. But I thank you for all the memories that you made. I still think about it, even after 3 years. So thank you very much. I hope you're doing well.
Well, thank you guys for sharing your wonderful study abroad experience. Luca, before you go, can you please say your lines?
Oh, sure. If you guys like this podcast, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate any feedback, and hope you guys like the podcast.